Let me ask you a question. If there's a recruiter out there somewhere right now looking for your skill set, how will they find you? The short answer to that question is LinkedIn. I know what you're thinking. Hear me out. I'm going to share my story of how LinkedIn helped me along the way and give you a couple of reasons why software engineers should have a LinkedIn profile. For those of you who don't know, LinkedIn is a professional networking platform for job seekers, employers, recruiters. It started in 2003 and has grown to over 900 million users. My story on LinkedIn goes all the way back to about 2011 when a high school teacher was giving out extra credit for students that created their LinkedIn profile. I wanted the extra credit, so I created it, but I didn't really nurture my profile or add anybody beyond few classmates. And from that point, my profile stayed dormant. I didn't really do anything to it until about 2015, 2016, when I decided to become a full-time software engineer and go to college. At that point, I intuitively knew that getting a job in tech is not going to be easy, and I need to increase my chances as much as possible in every way that I can. And I figured that watering my LinkedIn profile a little bit is not going to hurt. From that point on, I just updated my profile and started adding people that I know, like my classmates and professors. Compared to other platforms, LinkedIn is actually relatively easy to grow on. It's not a very needy platform. It doesn't require a lot of attention. You just have to slowly add people to your network over time. And at some point, you'll reach 500 connections, and LinkedIn doesn't show you anything beyond that. It will just say 500 plus connections. To get there, it takes some time. It took me a few years. It's not that difficult if you just keep it in the back of your mind, and when you meet somebody, just add them on LinkedIn. The best part about LinkedIn is that you actually don't need a lot of connections to make it work for you. The platform doesn't put as much emphasis on popularity like many other social media platforms do. And as a result, your profile will be visible to the right people at the right time, even if you have a very small network on LinkedIn. And that brings me to my original question from the beginning of this video. If there's a recruiter looking for you, how are they going to find you? This is really where LinkedIn shines. LinkedIn is that platform that gives you talent discoverability. This is how you're going to be found by most recruiters that are unaware of you in the first place. The alternative to LinkedIn is just cold applying to different jobs. The problem with that is that you're only one-way discoverable, and the recruiters are not going to know that you exist unless you apply for that job. In my experience, many opportunities came to me rather than me seeking them out. And what I mean by that is a recruiter reaching out to me and saying, hey, I have an opening here. Would you like to interview? And that mostly happens through LinkedIn. There are some exceptions. Sometimes an email like this can come through. This only really happens because I've applied to some job at a company some time ago, and eventually recruiter saw my application and email, even though that previous job was probably closed out and filled, and they email me about some other opening that I could be a good fit for. But this is really an exception. Majority of cold outreach from the recruiters that come to me come through LinkedIn. Ultimately, you could think of LinkedIn as a search engine for the recruiters and employers to find you. Of course, LinkedIn did not work for me right away as well as it does today. It's a platform that requires time and nurturing to work for you. If you think about LinkedIn as a search engine for the employers, then your profile is a page that you're trying to optimize for that search engine. And there are tips and tricks to do that. One of the things that LinkedIn does, it enables you to build credibility and social proof right on your profile. For one, people could leave you a recommendation on your LinkedIn profile page. You could think of it as a public letter of recommendation that's not specific to any job necessarily that you're applying to. It's more so in a testament to like your character or previous jobs that you've done. And it's usually done by your colleagues or maybe professors or other students in some cases. For two, LinkedIn enables you to list your skills. It's almost like a hashtag map for your profile of different skills that you've added. And your connections can actually endorse different skills. And it could say, oh yeah, Roman knows Python. Oh yeah, Roman knows C#. Sometimes recruiters will search for different individuals based on the skills that they've listed on their profile. So it's definitely a useful feature. And at some point, I'll make a video from the perspective of the recruiter on what it looks like on their end. Subscribe for that. So far, we've discussed how LinkedIn makes you more discoverable to the employers and how you could build trust using your profile. Now, let's focus on your connections, your existing connections and your future connections, and what LinkedIn does there. Professional connections need a little bit of nurturing, just like your normal friendships. LinkedIn simplifies that. Without it, you're going to be tracking emails, phone numbers, social media accounts of your previous coworkers and peers in college. With LinkedIn, you could kind of put all of them into one place. The cool part about that, when something changes in their life and they might find a new job or something like that, they will generally update the status and you will see it, which enables you to keep track of what's happening in your network, which can be very beneficial long term. Managing your existing connections in one spot is great, but the real superpower of LinkedIn is finding new connections. When you're searching for a job on LinkedIn, it will show you who works at that place that you have something in common with. For example, people that you might have gone to school with or have worked with before, which makes cold outreach and asking for referrals a lot easier because you have something in common. And when you do reach out to these people, they can actually see that as well. I have personally found this to be very useful. Whenever I'm looking for a new job, I always look at who is working there that has something in common with me. I can always reach out and ask them about the company if I'm not sure about it, or ask for a referral, and that has worked out for me really well with very high percentage of people saying yes to my request. On the flip side, when people that I don't already know reach out to me about a referral, it's very nice if they have a LinkedIn. If they reached out over email or phone and did not have a LinkedIn, it would take a lot more going back and forth and trying to figure out who they are, why they're applying for the role. If they do have a LinkedIn, it's a lot easier to look at their skills, endorsements, previous experience, and so on. At the moment, I don't think there is a good replacement for LinkedIn when it comes to maintaining and building your network, in addition to also getting referrals for the jobs that you're applying to. If there was a good replacement, I would definitely be exploring that option because LinkedIn does come with a lot of drawbacks as well. In my blog post covering this topic, I actually have a link to this post that talks about why LinkedIn is so cringe. And if you think that, you're not the only one. There is a lot of content floating around on the internet about this. Keep in mind that when you engage with content on LinkedIn, other people, mainly your network, can see it. What I would recommend is to stay away from any controversial content. Don't engage with it. Focus on your page, grow your personal network, and don't worry about all of the cringy stuff that's happening around you. LinkedIn also has a job search feature where you could look for jobs and even apply right on a platform. I have some thoughts about that, and I'm going to cover them in another video because I can only have so much LinkedIn in one day.